Hey guys, Lizardlea here for Christmas Minis 2022 Gnome. Workshop Gnome? I don't know. He's cute though. Look at his little candy cane. How adorable is he? Totes adorbs. Now before I get to cross-stitching, I have a question for the group. I have been thinking about getting a tattoo for quite some time now, a few years, ever since I got that scar on my elbow when I was the custom framing manager at Michael's, and I ripped it open on a tape dispenser, because I am hardcore like that. I've seen tattoos of people where it looks like a scar is getting stitched back together. And I was like, oh, I could do that with cross stitches. So I drew it on myself. It doesn't look great. Don't judge me too harshly, okay? This is me literally doing that. It's not great. But my first try at it, I covered the scar completely. And then at that point, you couldn't really tell it was a scar, which the point of this scar at this point is to tell the story about how I ripped it open on a tape dispenser like an idiot. So, I mean, I could see myself, not even with a needle, just the stitch. Like, I haven't tried it the opposite way, where I've done X's on top and I've left it blank on the bottom. So we're gonna see how I like this, especially like when I'm brushing my teeth. And yeah, I also have to see if I can make it in a way that David won't hate it and think I'm tacky and dumb. Don't hate on him, you guys. Like, it's not a thing. Don't do that. Yeah, I don't want to talk too much and annoy people because this has nothing to do with the actual video. But yeah, I would like some thoughts. I don't want to do anything big and crazy. I want it in very simplistic, kind of like this, like. So yeah. I'm going to actually go cross-stitch on fabric now instead of with a marker on my skin.
Okay, we're going to be talking about Jack Reacher, the TV show from 2022 starring Alan Ritchson as Jack Reacher, not Tom Cruise. I think I started the movie with Tom Cruise several times and I kept falling asleep, so never finished it. And Alan Ritchson, if he is only like 5'5" like Tom Cruise, I would be incredibly surprised because he looks freaking gigantic. Yeah. Vertically and horizontally. He just looks intimidating in every single shot he's in. And he was, what, a Marine? What? I don't remember what he was supposed to... Yeah.
Yeah. Ex-military is basically
yeah,
because he's special investigative unit and possibly was in Afghanistan and blah 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 blah. And so yeah, the super short like synopsis of what's going on is Jack Reacher is a very good, to my understanding, very well selling airport novel. So like that's the kind of bookstore you normally see it in, and that's where it usually sells, and it's popular because it knows what it is and it doesn't make any pretenses about it. He's the smarter than you, better than you, super ex-military guy, but he's, got a past and also doesn't get along with authority and all this stuff, but he's going to figure everything out. And also there's probably some women who finds him attractive, and
oh yes,
there'll be some buddy cop in the scenario. And like the best thing I can say about it is it gets quite clear what it's about, or it gets across quite clearly what it's about in episode 1. So if you hate episode 1,
don't continue. Yeah.
If you like episode 1, great, because it's more of that but better. Like it's incredibly stupid, but in good ways.
I loved it.
It's trashy,
so
but it's good trashy.
Like I want season 2 right now. That's how much I liked it.
And what really helped it was even though they know that this is like hardly Shakespeare, they got good actors who really connect to the roles, and they help make it work. Like, you feel like all the main characters have chemistry, and they have
absolutely.
really, really good banter. Even though it's like cliche banter at some points, like some of it's really clever and like, oh, that was a funny joke, or that was a neat little back and forth, but a lot of it's just cliche nonsense. I don't care about you too much, whatever.
I loved it all.
Yeah.
Oh my god, there was a moment, okay, I have to censor myself for this, where he was talking to a girl, and he was like, oh, I did this to protect you, and she got all offended and was like, you don't have to do that, I'm a cop, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, girl, shut the up. That was wholesome as... I cussed a lot, but like, it was true, because I was like, if a man did that for me, yes, I might be angry that he put himself in danger, but it was to keep me safe. Like, whatever, I'm a girl. I embrace the fact that sometimes I'm girly.
Yeah, I mean, it was,
I loved the show. The main girl, Roscoe, is played by the girl, the main actress from the Scream TV show. And I loved her in that. And I loved her in this one. She's a really good actress.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no. Like I said, like, part of the thing that makes this work is they got good actors and actresses for just about every role.
And they all have chemistry.
I will say the villains are incredibly weak in this, which is
I
a
do
bit
agree with
disappointing.
that. They're all very
I'm the villain!
mustache twirling, like we were just talking about in the
Yeah.
previous video.
And I mean, that's its biggest problem, I think. Is
And
just
yet
weak
I was
villains,
completely okay with
but
it.
who cares? It's,
Like...
yeah, I mean, the opening episode is him coming into town,
He's trying to order a peach pie,
Mm-hmm.
and that's when the cops show up.
Yeah, and they arrest him immediately because he's a suspect. But is he? And blah, blah. It's just like...
It was ridiculous.
And
I
he's
loved
like,
it.
he's ex-military Sherlock when it comes to observational abilities.
Mm-hmm.
Like, well, I figured because of this, you must be that. And they do rub that in his face with one really good part, which is a decent spoiler, so I'm not going to spoil it, but you know what I'm talking about, right?
I know.
The partner's wife.
Nope.
She is not dead. Anyways, I tried really hard to convey it through like pantomime and things, and now she's just looking at me like I'm crazy. But either way, they did rub in his face that like just because you think you're brilliant, you're not always right, in a rather decent way. And yeah, like it's kind of like those action movies from the 90s, but with a little more plot and a little less action. Not much in either direction, mind you.
90s. I feel like this is like, better acting.
He's Jason Bourne meets Sherlock Holmes meets, I don't know, Godzilla.
Oh, I do love the fact that when they put him in the jail cell, they don't put him in handcuffs, they put zip ties on him because he's too big for the handcuffs.
And he breaks them, of course.
Yeah, although I could do that, so that wasn't as impressive as they tried to make it seem. But you really liked Oscar Finley, the detective.
Uh-huh.
You thought they had chemistry.
Oh yeah, they have a lot of chemistry.
He shipped them, you guys.
No, the show shipped them.
Yeah.
I just observed that the show shipped them.
But no, I really liked... I mean, I liked the show overall, but I especially liked... Was it episode 2 when him and the other guy are both in prison?
I think so.
Yeah, I love when they're put in the same cell in a prison. They're not just at the police station. And Jack Reacher's like, ooh, I don't think we've been placed in the right section. We're in here with the lifers. And the other guy is, he's an accountant. He's got glasses. He's a nerd. He was like, what? We're in here with the lifers. We are in the wrong spot. This is dangerous. And Reacher gets on the top bunk and goes to sleep. A bunch of guys come in and they start threatening the nerd with the glasses. And it gets to the point where he's like, give me your glasses. And he hands them over. The guy breaks them, right? That's all he doesn't even try and use it because they're prescription glasses. Breaks them, And they start roughhousing him. Jack Reacher gets off of the bunk, and he's bigger than all of these other guys.
He's bigger than everyone else in the show.
Yeah, well, no, I think there were a couple guys in the shower scene that were bigger.
Maybe.
I could be wrong. It's been a while. Anyways, he gets off the bunk, and he basically chases them off. And he takes one of the guy's sunglasses. They later on go to the court, the courtyard where you can like play basketball and stuff. Yada yada yada. Eventually, Reacher goes to the showers, and the nerdy guy is just following him everywhere because he's like, I'm gonna stick with you because this is dangerous for me, and you're the safest place here. And a bunch of guys walk in, and they're like, him with the glasses.
Well, they don't say with the glasses. They just say
they don't? I thought they did.
Because that's a big reveal later. When he figures out that that's why he was targeted.
Oh, I thought he figured it out immediately.
No, he figures it out later when they go and see the children of the nerdy guy. And he's just like, oh yeah, this is Haley and such.
Oh,
yeah,
she's the one with glasses.
And he goes,
Oh.
Yeah.
My bad. If you wanted to watch the show, spoilers, you should have started watching it already. It's amazing. But they all start going after him, and he just beats the crap out of them one by one. It was amazing. Like, I like every fight scene because I absolutely believe that actor is gigantic and could crush anyone in his way.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's where the casting did a really, really good job because everyone feels like how they're supposed to. They're tropey, but they're well executed tropey. Yes? No?
The actor for Jack Reacher read all 24 Jack Reacher novels before he did the part.
I appreciate that.
I do too, honestly.
Yeah. That's the sort of stuff that more people should do. Because it helps add to the role, especially if there's like little nuances that you can put into the role that maybe people who are more familiar with the work will be like, oh yeah, he does have this in his past that we'll find out in book 35 or whatever. And yeah, like, I mean, honestly, after watching it, I'm kind of like, yeah, I would consider reading the books, as fun, just like, these are going to be easy reads, and it's sort of a modern mystery, is basically what it is, it's Sherlock Holmes, if Sherlock Holmes beat everyone to death. He does that, like, once or twice, but...
Oh, you mean Sherlock Holmes?
Yeah.
Yeah, the one with Robert Downey Jr. opened with him beating the crap out of the guy.
Yeah!
But, like, Jack Reacher he kills people, too.
To be fair, I meant, like, traditional Sherlock Holmes, who was supposed to be formidable, but that was not his go-to method of solution. And even then, it was not the point.
I feel like every person I've seen play the part of Sherlock Holmes is just a thin, twiggy person. Like, I love Benedict Cumberbatch, but he's very thin. I was going to say Cumberbunch, but then I was like, everybody's going to tell me I said his name wrong, even though it was intentional. So I was just like, I'll say his name right, but I have to say it in a weird way to make up for the fact that I don't get to say his name wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Benedict Cumberbunches. I just want to say, Alan Ritchson, the guy who plays Jack Reacher, is the middle son of a military family. And I appreciate that. I'm the middle daughter of a military family.
Yeah, I think if you're military, it has extra, like...
Well, I'm sure that absolutely helped him. He had a dad in the Air Force. Mm-hmm. So playing somebody who's ex-military, like, hey, think of my dad. Boom!
Yeah. It's my only problem with this is it's hard to talk about just because, like, it's so cliche and so easy to spoil. But, I mean, like,
It's good. I mean, I feel like there were some things that they handled really well, and it wasn't obvious.
He just happened to find the only barber in town who would become plot relevant later on.
Yeah. That was kind of like...
I mean, it's not a big town, so maybe he is literally the only barber, but still. And again, like, when you see one of the villains, I literally said to my friend, if he is not the main villain, I will be very happy. And in a sort of way, technically, he's not. So I guess I had to be happier about that, but I still wasn't that happy with how they did it. It's just... bad guys do bad things so we can get more bad stuff. The mystery of what are the bad guys actually doing and how are they doing it is kind of interesting, because I think you could figure it out beforehand. I'm not sure how early beforehand, but decently early. And it's an actual clever plan. Maybe not like literally. I'm not trying to figure out like how to spite the U.S. government here, but at least seems like it doesn't have any on its face like that seems incredibly stupid moments. There is some severe violence.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There are deaths.
Yeah, there's a couple of like torture deaths. You don't see the torture, but you see them post. So that's heads up. It's violent. They're like 1 or 2 shots, though. They're not super common. It's not like the point of the show, but it's still definitely violent when it wants to be.
There are also some naked scenes.
Yes.
People take off their clothes.
They do indeed. Way to say it, babe. I thought his gun was incredibly... Well, her gun that she gives to him happened to be incredibly stupid.
Oh, her dad's.
Yeah. All right, here's a Desert Eagle Dad kept. Really? He needs a Desert Eagle. He can just beat people to death with it.
Or his fists. They're just as big as the gun. No, I freaking loved it. I hope it gets in a second season, and excuse me, I would absolutely rewatch that first one right before watching the second season. I loved it.
I see. Yeah, no, I mean, I don't know. It's so hard to talk about, because it's like, I could explain the plot and go into spoilers, but who cares? Like, it's really not the point. It's basically a thinly veiled excuse for him to show his superiority to everyone else in the scene, and for them to occasionally remind him that he's not always infallible, because they're also competent and clever and whatnot. Am I forgetting any characters? Because there's obviously the detective, the cop, him, the nerd, the bad guys. All of them are boring. I feel like there was... Picard. The FBI agent that they bring in. Yeah, that was like maybe the one interesting thing about it, even though I called that kind of early. But again, good actors. And also, not super stupid writing. Again, like with what we just talked about with Hellraiser, there's no mustache twirling scenes until the mustache twirling is known. Like,
Yeah.
they didn't, spoil it too early or anything by making it super obvious. It's just more of a, well, wait, if blah, then blah, then blah.
Yeah. Jasper, the guy at the computer that would... no, he also worked at the morgue, right? He handled dead bodies?
Yeah.
He was precious.
Yes.
I thought he was very precious.
He's barely in it, but yes.
But he was in several episodes. He was in 5 episodes. Of 9. He was in more than half of them.
I guess.
5. 4.5 is half of 9.
I don't remember him in that many, but I believe you.
I do. They kept going back to him again and again and again. There were other cops at the station. Oh, no! She was important. Neegly. His PI friend. Or was she a private eye?
Oh, yes, I know I was forgetting her. Yeah, she
was fun.
Yeah, and she was the one I was trying to think of. So yeah, I mean, and again, just good casting, a lot of tropes, but well-executed tropes. It's stupid, it's dumb. You'll know by the end of the first episode if this is for you or not.
Yeah,
Be warned
absolutely.
that the violence ramps up in 1 or 2 extreme cases. So if that they don't show in the first episode. But, yeah, it's good. It's good. Stupid good.
Yeah. I recommend it. I loved it.
And that is the end of Christmas Minis Gnome. I got 2 hours and 21 minutes of footage. So, I noticed a mistake on the one on their cover. So, notice this glove where it is outlined next to the green shirt. Okay? And this one too. Pink. Alright? And then, oh, it's outlined in green here and pink here. The pattern has it outlined in pink on both. So mine follows the pattern. theirs doesn't. I didn't even notice it until I was working on it, and I hate how they do the outlining on this because it can be incredibly difficult to differentiate where the outlining is and where the 10 by 10 grid lines are, especially when it's black and solid and only slightly thicker. Slightly. So I was going back and forth like, oh, where's the outline? Where does it start? Where does it end? And that's when I was like, wait a minute. It's outlined in green on the cover, but it's pink on the pattern. I've made mistakes like that. It's whatever. If I had just done it and not looked at the picture, I would have compared them afterwards and I probably wouldn't have seen the difference. Still, you know, checking out my elbow. The needle still looks terrible. That's okay. That's not the point. It's just to see if I'm okay with having random marks on my elbow. Okay, that's all I've got. Like, subscribe, share, comment, all that jazz. And I'll see you guys next video.